I'll take an anime and review it!
Oh, God. So he's Duke and I'm Mayham, and this is another episode of the GV podcast.
Based on the meme that I just gave you, it's obvious what show we're doing.
Death Note!
We are going to have you watch for the first time Death Note.
Yeah.
Tell me what you know about Death Note before I even start.
You kids want any apples?
There is a character that likes apples. Okay.
And he looks terrifying.
Yes, Ryuk does look terrifying. Tell me what you know of the plot, though.
Just a guy just writes in a book that people die and that's it?
Yeah, that's not far off, honestly.
With the name of the show being Death Note and people dying.
I am going to read to you. You can easily find this description. It's on the Wikipedia page, dude.
But that requires effort. I don't want to do that.
Death Note is a Japanese manga series written by Sugumi Oba and illustrated by Takeshi Obata. The story follows Light Yagami, a teen genius who discovers a mysterious notebook, the Death Note, which belonged to the Shinigami Ryuk, and grants the user supernatural ability to kill anyone whose name is written in its pages. The series centers around Light's subsequent attempts to use the Death Note to carry out a worldwide massacre of individuals whom he deems immoral, and create a crime-free society using the alias of a godlike vigilante named Kira, and the subsequent efforts of an elite Japanese police task force led by an enigmatic detective L to apprehend him.
Okay.
This is a 36, I believe, episode-long series.
Oh, okay.
37 episodes.
37.
And it covers 2 seasons. Best way to put it is it's 2 arcs.
Oh, okay.
It's only 2 arcs, this story. The beginning arc and the end arc. There's no, like, filler. There's no crazy bullshit in the side of, oh, let's go to Brazil real quick. Honestly, I know that there's plenty of stigma around the show due to the fact that it is such a emo-obsessed show.
It really gives off that feel.
But in all fairness, this show is very smart. Like, genuinely, there are a lot of smart moments. It's not so much an emo depressed and deciding he's going to kill everybody. No, it's basically 2 well-done Sherlock Holmes characters fighting each other.
Duel of the Homes?
Exactly. It's
Duel of the Homies?
the Duel of the Homies. Dude.
You're my brother.
This show, I will say right now, I will give you a flat-out warning that season 1 is amazing. It is...
How was that a warning?
It'll become one.
Oh.
Season 1 is amazing. It is honestly an achievement of anime.
A landmark.
Season 2... kind of dropped the ball for a majority.
Oh, no!
But that doesn't mean it's terrible.
Okay.
It's just elements of it are terrible.
Okay.
I needed to give you that warning, because I love this show.
And this doesn't have the excuse of having bizarre in the title.
Yeah, it's basically think of JoJo Season 1 successfully pulling off that dramatic. That's the best way to picture this show. Of like, it's Season 1 of JoJo done successfully. I will tell you real quick my experience, and then we will get right to the show.
Exactly, yes.
I saw this show back around either early high school or middle school, actually. Which is, yes, honestly, when you hear that, it sounds so bad, because it's like, this is a kind of show that would turn people emo when they're in middle school.
I've seen the design of the weird apple guy. And
Ryuk.
I could just imagine, I'm just thinking of, the fan art and stuff like that. But just how cool that they would make him look.
The edgy.
The edge. Son, the edge.
Yeah, that's very well descriptive of the way this show is. It's very edgy, obviously. Kind of thing of, even Sasuke goes, chill, bro. But... honestly,
I haven't seen Naruto.
Honestly, this was one of the first shows that I ever decided to flat out binge watch. I binged all 2 seasons that same day that I started watching it.
Oh, wow.
I did not regret it at all.
So
some parts, yes.
So what you're saying is as soon as we finish this first part of the video, we'll instantly go into the next part?
Yes. So anyway, let's go get us some potato chips.
Oh no! Apples! I'm a doctor!
Oh, the symptoms are starting!
Hey, Mayham, got an apple?
Oh no! Giving him an apple sent me to the Shinigami realm! Oh no!
Is it any worse than Brazil?
Are we sure it's not the same place?
You just see all the Shinigami in Brazil.
Hey, there was that one that was like an Aztec guy that looked awesome.
Yeah, we are back after a while from watching all of Death Note.
Just a little bit of time, just a little bit.
All 37 episodes have now been binged. I want to ask you, what did you think?
I actually really enjoyed it. It was like you kind of get the idea from like hearing that it's called Death Note, but the fact that like the entire wild story that you get from it was completely like I was not at any way like prepared for how amazing it was going to be.
You didn't expect a lot of it?
Yeah, like the I thought Light becomes L. Like not in like a not in the way that he does in the show, but like physically, like he becomes like that he changes his look to.
Okay.
I thought they were the same character.
Starting with part 1 of the show,
Yes.
give us a quick summary.
So part 1 is basically with the inciting incident where Ryuk, the Shinigami, is just like, hey, I'm bored. I'm gonna go drop my Death Note in the human world. And then he does, and it's picked up by literally the worst person to ever pick it up.
The name of him was Light Yagami.
Light Yagami. And the opening that played was probably one of my favorite openings because it like when I was seeing it, I was just like, oh, there's that Renaissance painting, there's that Renaissance painting, there's that Renaissance painting. And hey, Lucifer, how's it going? Long time no see.
Could it be Satan?
But yeah, this high school kid gets the Death Note, and then when he finds out its exact use, he just immediately goes full into and I will be the god of this new world, like instantly. And it's like, looks like somebody had a bit of a complex, and now it's even worse.
Like, even before the show, he was always kind of a bit of a,
He was the top of his class, arrogant, popular...
Yes, douche.
Exactly, yes. And when he got this god power killing device thing in the form of the Death Note, he went understandably crazy. And as he started his killings and all that kind of stuff all over the world, obviously the police, Interpol and all that kind of stuff got a bit suspicious, and we're like, maybe we should find somebody that could help us find him. This guy that this killing thing that they've decided to call Kira. Here comes L. Probably, I think he is my favorite character. He just comes in with, like, these two characters, Light Yagami and L. At first, it seems like they're the only characters in the entire show that actually think. Later on, you do find out that it's just like, oh no, everybody else thinks. It's just these two are, like, so above everybody else that, like, the things that happen in the show are so beyond what a normal person should know, but everybody is a normal person. And, like, it's a constant back and forth between them, like, doing things to try and catch Light as Kira and all that kind of stuff, and Light as Kira is trying to kill L and all that kind of stuff. And it goes completely off the rails with different variables, with Misa coming in, the girl...
You mean the investigator woman?
Who
Light killed.
Yeah, so that whole thing was, like, that was a crazy part. Where, like, this FBI agent was trying to find Light. He was able to kill him and everybody else, like, all the other FBI agents investigating other people at the same time. And that guy's wife was, like, trying to, like, I might have information and all that kind of stuff, and he killed her. Like, that was insane. And that had some crazy imagery, too. That's the thing I also want to say about the show. The imagery is insane.
So no one knew the fact that Kira killed her, right?
No, it was just suicide. It was just suicide, and
Yeah.
what's his face? L was like, I knew her from, like, working with her. She's not this kind of person that would do this.
Go ahead and summarize the end of part 1.
The end. Oh my god, when they got the building and all that kind of stuff, it's just L knew when Light did all these crazy things to, like, give up the notebook and lose his memories and all that kind of stuff. When he finally, like, got them all back, like, that moment where he was just like, I've win! Like, again, like, that was just a constant thing. The fact that Light always was like, I win! And he was just so happy about it.
The ecstasy of winning kind of clouded his judgment.
Exactly. And then he got it back, and he was finally able to kill L. And I, like, that entire moment, that entire, like, time between L and Light just talking to each other, L finally dying, was insane. And it was kind of, like, I didn't want it to happen.
Yeah, that's the way most people have basically reacted of, like, it's a very good, important moment for the show, but no one wanted it to happen.
Yeah, we didn't want Elle to die because their dynamic was so perfect.
And also, just generally, you realize he was basically the hero of the story, and you just watched the hero of the story die.
He was the hero, but he's also the antagonist. So
Yeah.
so it's a very bittersweet feeling where you're seeing this guy trying to catch a giant killer.
Oh. So, in other words, good timing to mention to literally anybody watching this who thought that Light was the hero of the story. Just because you are the protagonist of the story does not mean that you're the hero of the story. It just means you're the main focus.
You're the focus, and whoever's the antagonist stands in your way. If anybody tries to say that Light is the hero, you are in jail.
God, you're just... How do people think that? What, are they 14 still?
Still. Just the fact that Elle was the actual hero. Just the entire story, you want to root for the protagonist, but the fact that the protagonist is this douche of a guy.
Every scene he had with a woman made me uneasy.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, you saw that, my face. Whenever he was with any woman, I felt so uneasy because of how much of a sleazebag he was.
He was the attractive playboy sleazebag, like the manipulator.
Like, even in part 2, like, that scene where he just full-on gives up Misa and is like, she was too dumb for me.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that line hurt.
Like, even though it's like, it was like a whole, like, thing to get her, the other girl, to be more dedicated. Still, though.
Still that bullshit manipulation.
That was another big tell that he was not a hero.
Okay, summarize part 2.
Part 2, after Elle's death, his two successors, M and N.
Mello and Near.
Yeah, they decided, let's not keep him with the single letter thing. Let's actually give him like a name sort of thing.
Yeah.
One of them had his, like, they were the two halves of Elle. That Mello was like, had like a thing with sweets and his emotions, and also worked with more of the criminal underbody, while Near was more puzzle focused and working with the police.
Which, so that people that are like those like die-hard fans of this kind of show don't think we're not looking at stuff. We do understand that there was apparently a third successor by the name of Matt, but
His name was Matt!
yes, his name was Matt.
I thought it would be like Olo or something.
Because he wasn't such a big focus on the screen, he was kind of under the radar for a while. So.
Yeah, I only found out about it after the show, and I was just like, he had more of a thing with him. Come on.
That happens a lot in anime of like characters that are like way bigger than you would imagine.
Like their relationship with other people was a lot more, and was like, that would have been an awesome thing.
Yes, he discovers the existence of Mello and Near. The fight continues amongst Light and them.
And he's like, they're inferior. I can take them all. I can take them both and defeat them both, and all that kind of stuff.
And the fight with them escalates to the point that Light's own father dies.
And I just want to make a thing real fast for those that are like that are full about that know the series at Bunch. Yes, we did skip over the board people, because that was probably my least favorite part of the show.
It was the weakest part, but it still wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. It was just the weakest part that was just like, I couldn't skip over.
When everything is a like gourmet feast, when there's one that's just like, here's McDonald's, it feels off.
You're just like, it's not even McDonald's fries.
As I said, we get to see the death of Light's father.
That, yes, and the fact that during his actual, like, dying in the hospital bed, that Light has, like, a bit internal thing where he's like, wait a second, everybody won't be surprised if I get, like, super angry and all that kind of stuff. The fact that he had that much of a sociopath...
The gall of this man.
Yeah, to be like... Well, like, I would say that in a moment like that, somebody lashing out in anger makes sense, but the fact that he had to think about it.
He had to think of, like, what would be the appropriate reaction for this moment?
I should be angry.
Sociopath.
Yeah, but before that, we got the other Shinigami, the guy... The bad one.
We can mention all the Shinigamis as a whole right now. We've met big players, at least three Shinigami.
Three of them.
The first one being, of course, Ryuk,
the greatest character ever.
The second one,
Rem, who was Misa's Shinigami, and at first he was like, this Shinigami is a big threat to Light because like she's so dedicated to Misa that he can't do anything to her and all that kind of stuff. And the fact that he used it against her,
in
order for the Shinigami to have to kill itself in order to save Misa.
to explain his plan, he basically made it so that no matter what would have happened, if L had continued his, whole plan of finding out who Akira was, at that point, there would have been a 100% chance of him finding out and having Misa executed. So the only option left for Rem was to kill L.
Yep, that's how L died. The light was able to trick Rem to kill L.
Yep.
And when the Shinigami kills somebody, when they're supposed to kill somebody else and prevent that person's death, that causes the Shinigami.
You cannot kill somebody in order to extend another person's life.
Exactly. Yeah. And when it does happen, that kills the Shinigami.
So
and then the third guy, the bat guy, he's the one that Ryuk took the notebook from, and when he
Hey, Ryuk.
Yeah, that's his voice.
I want my notebook.
I want my notebook. Guys, I want it.
I have no idea what you're talking. The notebook. Okay, yeah, I have it. I don't have it with me right now.
But I want it.
Go find it yourself.
No.
Okay. And he just flies over to Light as he's working, and he just goes, oh. And he sees a little note, and he even leans over and goes, Los Angeles.
Yeah, he just hears that it's he sees this note that Light's burning and just sees Los Angeles. He's like, I'm gonna go there.
And he just flies over there. Oh, they can't see me. I'm gonna have to tap the notebook on somebody. And
he grabs it and then he drops it on the guy's head.
And he just goes
and then while Mellow's just what the what? Or, he's freaking out because he's just seeing the notebook float. And then he hits one of the thugs, and the thug starts freaking out, and then everybody sees the notebook and everybody starts shooting the Shinigami. He's just like, well, it doesn't work.
In general, I'll just say that character was one of the best background characters.
Yes, all of the Shinigami were great. All of them.
Yeah.
Great. And the ones that we didn't know their names or anything like that, or didn't have a place in the story, their designs were still incredible.
Yeah, I'll say just in general, so many of them were so amazing. Even I saw your reaction when you first met Rem. You were like, I don't know if I like that. I remember, your reaction specifically was that you didn't know if you liked that.
Yeah.
And then over time, she warmed up with you.
Her design was a little off-putting at first. I didn't really like the bone-themed and the hair. It didn't mix well with me with, Ryuk and everybody else. Afterwards, our character was so well done that I was just like, yeah, no, I like her.
Yeah. So we can continue with the story now of we are at the end.
Yes.
After the death of Light's father, we get an introduction to a new character. Delete.
Oh, yes. So, imagine thinking that you're so much of an influence on the world that you can literally pick your biggest disciple and just be like, you'll do everything that I want you to do, but I'm not going to tell you, and I expect you to know exactly what to do. And he does!
His name was Teru Mikami. When we first met him, Mayhem's reaction was basically that he thought, okay, I don't see that quite that well of how does everybody know this guy? But when you really think about it, he's basically this guy. Imagine if Joel Osteen had a devotee who was so dedicated to spouting his word that he was on every station.
Yeah, it's
weird to say this, but the best way to kind of think about it is he's the equivalent of a 2007 meme. And that's not to mean that it's bad.
It was made in 2007.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's not to mean it's bad. It's basically supposed to mean something so viral that almost anybody that hears a certain phrase from him will remember that line.
That all you have to do is say one part of it, and then everybody knows the rest.
We are introduced to Mikami. We are introduced, once again, actually, to a female character that was introduced back in the first half.
Yes, his a girl that he went on a date with.
We get this whole scene with this whole part of the show. This female character that was just a passing character, it seemed, becomes basically the voice of Kira.
Yep.
He becomes the voice of the god of the new world.
So
we're
going a lot of places really quick, so I don't blame you.
Light's ex-girlfriend, essentially.
Yeah.
And now kind of new girlfriend in a way.
Which it's another showing of him being of Light being a shitty person by being like, and you'll replace Misa as my goddess.
She becomes the new voice of Kira. Yeah. In the background, there is a new person that is writing down all the names. As we said, it was Mikami, who is going in and he is treating it basically like as if they're all statistics.
Statistics, but still he's doing the will of God.
Yes.
That's what he's looking at it as.
At the very end, we have this whole situation where Mello ends up kidnapping
The girl.
Yeah. It leads to a situation in which he gets killed. She is all by herself. She's about to be taken into custody because of everything going on.
Everything, yeah.
And as it happens, Light writes her name
in his watch notebook thing. Was all too convenient so often.
Like, he always had it, basically, of like, that was really cool to me, of like, the fact that was always there for him.
It was always there, and like, he was able
even
to...
at the end.
Yeah, he was able to fix his watch, and so it would do that. It was crazy.
But he ends up writing her name, and she burns all the evidence. Including herself. Anyway, the last 2 episodes end up being where Light begins to make his way down to the building where he's supposed to meet with Nier.
And I just want to say real fast, the second opening is not as good as the first opening. I didn't like it.
It was a lot of 2007-ish.
Yeah, the 7-ish.
But anyway,
so
we get the last 2 episodes.
That warehouse scene. Insane. And it was another, like, that entire, like, build-up towards that, it was another way to show that the other characters that have been in the show for the entire time, like the guy with the afro, everybody else, they are characters, and since Light is, like, the only one now, and, like, everybody's growing suspicious of him, and everybody's able to make their own decisions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It was the greatest way to do that, where you had these characters that kind of seemed useless at first, and they're just like, oh, they're just noise in the thing. But after L dies, they become more important and more fleshed out.
So we'll get to my personal favorite character after this, but we then get this whole thing where new Kira, ex-Kira that Nier is calling him, basically, comes in and finally writes all the names, and Nier, in his confidence, basically says, don't shoot him. Watch. We will be fine after this.
Yep, and Light thinks that he won, and he's just like...
And he gives up, basically. He's like, flat out...
At the mark that they're supposed... Yeah, and like, at the mark that they're supposed to die, and you actually think that they're going to die. He literally just says, I win.
Yeah.
Again.
And then nothing happens. And they begin to freak out.
And it's absolutely the rat in the cage, and I love it. The
And
fact that this stoic, smug douchebag, the entire show has been like, he's had setbacks the entire time and all that kind of stuff, but finally he's been beaten.
Yep. And he finally admits it, that he is Kira, and he tries convincing some of the folk there of like to continue his job, basically all these different things of like trying to worm his way out of it.
Trying to do anything possible. He's grasping at straws to do anything possible to come back and come out on top.
And who ends up taking him out almost all the way?
And like, he's about to, on that watch thing with the Death Note, he starts to write on it. And lo and behold, it's the comic relief. Matsuda, the comic relief character that's always been like the innocent one. He's the one that breaks first and actually prevents Light from killing everybody.
Yeah. Matsuda, who is basically at this point one of Light's best friends, is the one to shoot him multiple times, almost killing him.
And like, the insane part was like, after he shoots him more, and he goes up to him and he's just like, I'll kill you, and only with everybody else like grabbing him,
he wasn't convinced. He had to be grabbed and pulled away. If it wasn't for being pulled away,
he would have killed him. Yeah,
he would be dead.
Yeah, he wouldn't have killed Light.
And as like Mitsumi sees this, he's freaked out because he's watching his god just being shot, bloodied. He watched a god bleed.
Yeah, it's that classic quote from Iron Man 2 that I love so much from Whiplash. He's like, if you can make God bleed, people will cease to believe in you.
Yeah, just so nuts. And then the moment he sees that, he just flat out gives up, and he commits seppuku.
Yeah, he kills himself.
You know, the process in which a samurai who has lost their master or has disgraced their family ends themselves.
Yeah.
And he's just died right there, and as that happens, Light makes his way to try to escape.
Yeah, he has like 7 bullets in him, And he still has, like, the strength to get up and run still. That's, like, not like a strength as in he's strong sort of thing, but no, the fact that this is more important to him than anything, and he has to get away and survive and come back and kill them all. That's what it is. And it's just insane to me just how, like he's cornered, and yet he still wants to be on top, even though he's cornered and beaten. And what happens while he's running?
Then we get the very end of the show.
Yeah.
With the final words of the entire show given by Ryuk himself. You know, the comedic character. Well, Light, it looks like you've lost. Remember how in the beginning when we first met, I told you that I'd be the one writing your name in my notebook. That is part of the agreement between a Shinigami who brings a notebook to the human world and the first human who picks it up. If they put you in prison, who knows when you'd die, and I don't want to lie around waiting, so it's all over. You'll die here. It was good while it lasted. We eased each other's boredom for quite a while. Well, Light, it's been interesting.
It's been interesting.
That line it made me shake when I first heard it.
And where does Light die? On a staircase.
He begins to climb up the staircase, and halfway through the staircase, he collapses and dies. And the last thing he sees is... maybe it was just a vision to him, or maybe that was actually legit just the spirit of L just basically taking in the final moments of Kira.
Yeah.
The final moments of Light Yagami.
That L was fully avenged.
I had to look it up to confirm, but yes, we also do get the fact that Misa does die by killing herself.
She jumps off a building, yep.
Yep, that's the show. It just ends there.
Yeah, and it just straight out ends, and it's crazy to be like they could have gone in any direction that they wanted to, but they didn't.
Yeah, the creator basically said, no, I made my story.
Yeah. And I think that is a good thing to do, because it does happen where, like, these creators, like, at first they want to make, like, this roundabout story, and that's it. Where, they want to tell the story for a certain amount of time, and then they're done, and it's over. But then sometimes they elongate it.
Yeah.
But then, like, sometimes it gets good, sometimes it gets bad. You can never tell, like, from what happens. Like, you can never perfectly predict it. And then sometimes they artificially elongate it, which makes it even worse.
I will say there is only one example that I know of a show that, like, has stretched beyond what you thought would have been its endpoint, and has somehow gotten better with time. And it's One Piece. Like, have you seen later episodes?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Oh my god. Because of the fact that it came out in the 1990s, like 1999 is when it came out.
Oh, really?
The latest episodes have all been animated beautifully. A single fight in one episode is like better animation than a One Punch Man episode.
Oh, wow.
That kind of good.
That's a statement.
There's even a music video that I could show you later on. It's just awesome.
Oh, okay.
But
back to Death Note.
2 final questions for you are going to be basically, first off, characters. Who is your favorite character in the show?
It would have to be... It's comic relief character. It's going to be Ryuk, because I just love his the-ness.
Yeah.
And just how, like...
No, I get that.
He's just the spectator character that literally has no purpose except for being the inciting incident and just watching everything happen.
Yeah.
And that was his goal. And then, but for the actual character that is in the story that I really liked is L. How weird he was, how he reminds me so much of a crow, the weird things that he would do, and how smart that he was just trying to... that he was able to make these leaps in judgment that were actually correct.
My next question, when it comes to characters, is who was your favorite police officer?
The police officer, it would have to be I can't remember his name.
Aizawa?
Aizawa, yes, Aizawa.
Yeah, Afro guy.
The guy with the afro that then doesn't have the afro.
Yeah, he cut his hair.
Yeah, he cuts it off, yeah.
But yeah, no, Aizawa was awesome. I will say one of my favorite characters, honestly, was Matsuda. Because he was always that lighthearted bit of joy throughout the entire show.
He was the young guy and all that.
He didn't break at almost any point. Did it hurt when Officer Yagami died? Yes. The point when he finally breaks is the moment when he realizes that one of his closest friends, somebody he considers family at this point, is the same man that ended up killing hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, and was totally fine with his own father dying.
Yeah, no, even that whole moment of like, well, how did you feel when your own father died? And he's like, basically, he has the same remarks of, it was a statistic.
It was another way to show that just Light was so disconnected from everything.
He was one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
So, I will ask this next question, and mind you, maybe a touch subject. Who was your least favorite character?
I think that is interesting because a lot of these characters did have a place in the story, and some of them were actual like characters where like they actually had their own goals and aspirations and all that kind of stuff. And I think it actually might have been Mello.
Mello was your least favorite. Okay. Basically just that he was the weakest.
He was the weakest and just had like this, like even though he was young, he still had like this emotional like about things.
It felt a little bit like he was a little more of a forced character that was kind of forgotten of.
Yeah,
for a while.
And when he did die, it was just like, oh, that's his death. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't really a big thing that he died. Like most there were of course a few reactions of characters being like,
"Oh my god, he's dead," and
like there was that one FBI lady where like she was actually really hurt by the fact that he's gone.
Yeah.
But she was still like even though she was hurt, she was like, you did a good job, Mello.
Exactly. Like it was just something where it was just like, okay,
but
like he was very weak in the story. That like his stuff could have been done better, and like all of a sudden like he's kidnapping and all that kind of stuff, and it's just like, what is happening?
My next question: what was your favorite part and least favorite part?
My favorite part was just the quiet moments that Elle and Light had before Elle died.
Yeah.
Like, it was just so quiet, and Elle knew exactly what was going to happen, even if Light didn't.
Yep.
Light was just like, what is happening? And Elle the entire time was just like, I'm gonna like see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Like the entire time, and it was such an amazing moment, and I love that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the whole creepy stuff with the board guy.
Yeah.
I think that was my least favorite part.
I get that.
And also, this is just the thing too, just how Misa was kind of just left behind in the story.
Oh, apparently the reason why is because he genuinely didn't know what to do with her anymore.
Oh, come on. You got...
That happens a lot with characters, honestly, though. Like, I mean, look at Launch.
You gotta bring a character... Like, if there's a character in the story, you gotta have an actual reason for them to be gone, or use them being gone as, like, a big thing.
Well, in all fairness, I think he basically had the same thought process as Light in that moment when you really think about it. When you think about it,
yeah.
Like, genuinely,
Oh
he used the fact that he couldn't think of a plan with her anymore in character. Of, like, well, I don't have a plan for you anymore. So I guess I'm going to have to ask you, if you truly love me, do this, and you will be safe over here while my plan continues.
Yeah, it is just... Yeah... But I still don't like it because I like the idea of like this character that like that doesn't fit in the story. Like she was like when she came in, it was like this different dynamic, like this whole other a new variable that was just like you couldn't decide, like you couldn't predict where unpredictable variable. That's what it was. That's what I was trying to say.
So. So yeah, no, I understand your whole thought process there. She
could have been like there could have been so much, like so different things that could have been done with her.
Now the final question.
Why wasn't she the spokesperson?
I guess because that would have just made her more obvious. Yeah. Like it would have put back the connections between her and Light.
Yeah.
But anyway, my final question to you is how you would rate this. I want you to give me your review. Your full review.
I would definitely... Like, this is in the category of I would be willing to watch it again, which that's its own... which, for myself, is in a... Like, it puts it in a specific category.
S tier!
the up... Like, A and up. Like, so out, and you said like out of 10. So
Yeah.
I would put it at a 9, at a strong 9.
Sounds about right.
And for me, 8 and up are things that I could watch again. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to, like, so 8 and up is there, and then the fact that it's a 9 is
Heck
that
yeah.
it's really good for me.
Okay. So, in that case, we're done. You just watched a classic. How do you
Yeah,
feel?
I'll watch the classic. It's like, it's the same feeling as when I watched Full Metal Jacket.
The movie?
Yes.
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, I was making sure I wasn't saying it wrong.
I thought you were about to say, "Oh, you saw Full Metal Alchemist."
Yeah,
Dude.
that's what I was trying to make sure I wasn't gonna say.
Dude, your brain just turned to Mercury for a second. Full Metal. Okay.
But yeah, so it was like seeing that, where it's like I saw this classic that everybody always talked about, and now I get it.
we hope that you agree with some of our opinions, even if you don't. Hopefully leave your comments like of what you thought of the show in general.
What you thought,
If you
your
saw
favorite
it.
character. If you did like Mello, tell me how and why.
Well, Mayham. Now that we're done with all that, what else do we have to watch? I mean, I think I have an idea.
What are you doing?
Are you ready for a Titanic adventure?
We're gonna watch James Cameron's The Titanic? Or is somebody attacking this Titanic boat?
We'll see. Tune in later on as we get to our next reviews.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
No, you're not.
Oh, you guys are still here.
Maybe they want more videos.
No. Or...
But we have a few videos on screen now.
Oh, and if they're still here, I know that they could like and subscribe.
They could do that. And maybe check out our Twitter, @GreenVillain22. Or maybe check out our Instagram, @TheGreenVillains.
We even have a Twitch that they can check out, the Green Villain stream.
What are you guys waiting for?
I don't know. They should check all that out.